screaming would get the gate open. And she was, I mean, and she was angry, and we kind of backed off. You know, you don't, but you're right. It's, we can't get involved in, we can't get too involved there, but we do want to look out for
Wait a minute, wait, hold on just a second. 92-year-old neighbor being robbed. You could address it with your family, you know, with you and your husband, right? But she can't address it. So I'm wondering, has there been any kind of consensus about security? What is the discussion? What are you guys talking about?
I don't know where you're going with this, George, and you're being a little vague. Can you say what you think she should be doing? Because I'm not sure what scenario you're trying to deal with.
No, I'm asking the question. I don't have an opinion. I'm asking the question, what did the team do after they came into this, when this question came to them? The Grange must have heard, and your neighborhood must have spoken about this. So what did the consensus, what was the consensus of the group, and what do you suppose is the best case scenario for that 92-year-old woman being assaulted or whatever?
Well, if we knew about it at the time, of course, we'd probably plow right in there and help her out. I mean, the idea, though, that we can bring guns or a posse to a situation is beyond our reach.
Exactly.
But that is an excellent question. It really is. But we
so
don't
Joel,
have, there are groups out and about, like the Oregon Rangers. They're a group of folks that have kind of come together in some communities, but we don't have the Oregon Rangers out here. We do have, you know, we have neighborhood watches. We also are connected on that neighborhood connection website. So people say, I saw a car, I saw a white truck, the guy was sitting there, he came up to my gate, he was looking around, he didn't have a reason for being there, and then we all knew to look out for that. So we do stay connected like that when we see something or somebody stole something out of my garage. And so we're all kind of aware of trucks and cars that don't belong out here and people who don't seem to belong here. We do connect with each other that way. But
I wouldn't
blind to it.
I wouldn't think that would be the main purpose of something like this. I just would think it would be an ancillary benefit of having created better relationships between neighbors. One side benefit is that you are more aware of what trucks belong and what ones don't, and you're more likely to have chatted with each other recently about concerns, and you're more likely to notice if something is awry because you've been talking to each other. But I wouldn't think it would be the focus of this, or even a main event.
It's more preventative than confrontational.
Yeah, because I think that the purpose is it's responding to, you know, these emergency situations that are more about the kind of natural disasters that you started talking about.
Yeah, if I can chime in terms of the of how it might be different in an urban setting. One of the things that have come up as we discuss this in Neighborhood Leader Council is one of the problems is the fact that in a lot of our neighborhoods, our neighbors, unlike yours, change a lot, and keeping up with that and keeping your mapping current would be a problem. And the other thing that came up was that a lot of neighbors in urban settings don't want to give you any information. They're a little suspicious of people.
Yeah. We had a couple of people who said, "Gee, I don't want to tell you what I got in my house to, and that's fine. And that's to be expected. There are some people that aren't going to participate, and that's just human nature. You just have to live with it.
Danuta, I'm a little curious about a couple little nuts and boltsy pieces. Like, you got local businesses I take $38 and multiply by 600, and then that initial investment came from several local businesses. So you bought the things, and then you put it out like to your entire Grange mailing list that your next meeting, they could come to the meeting and buy a go bag for $38 or for $24 or for $100, or how did you set a price on it then?
The price was about half of the retail value.
Oh, okay.
So we put that together so that we would, whatever the profit margin we had, we could then fund our disaster programs. And it's worked out quite well. We didn't sell them at the Grange as much, although we did sell our first 600 at the Daffodil Festival. It was at the Daffodil Festival. We had a little booth, and they just flew out. And then we also had B&I. They were selling them for us, B&I Hardware. Les Schwab Tires, they were selling them for us. And so was CarQuest. They were also selling them for us. And so, they would buy them from us outright.
I see. Okay.
So it wasn't a consignment. So we didn't have to fiddle with the books and keep track of all that. So they would buy them 20 at a time.
Okay.
Well, you sold Danuta.
Yeah.
Oh, you sold them too at your place because.
Yes, and at the winery.
Yeah. I picked up mine there, and came out there and had a little wine and picked up the bag and.
Yeah, and we still have them. I mean, I think we have about 100 left.
Nice.
But we were going to sell them out at this last Daffodil Festival. So, but people are still buying them. They'll come in for a bottle of wine and they'll see the bag and they'll go, "Oh yeah, I meant to get one." So, and now with the coronavirus, we're thinking of maybe adding gloves and masks, and our next batch.
Sanitizer.
Sanitizers, yeah.
Nice.
But I think that overall, having a preparedness program, it really, one thing just dovetailed into another. It was almost it was a natural evolution of ideas, so that it didn't all come at once, but it just seemed a very natural evolution. And what I loved about it was that we didn't have to talk anybody into it. People just got so encouraged and empowered about it. They're going, yeah, let's do this next. So when we do have meetings, people would come with ideas. They came with their hard hats on. I mean, it's really been heartening. And we see a lot of smiles out there now. And a lot of reasons for being, it's a reason to have the Long Tom Grange. It's a reason to call a meeting. I mean, we are purpose driven, and that means everything.
And one of the things that we've been trying to do is sort of gauge the interest in Santa Clara, and we haven't really gotten a lot of interest. And I don't know if it's our message, the way we're trying to do it or what, but it seems like we aren't having people just going, "Oh yeah, this is a great idea. Let's get together and do it." Sort of like the experience you had. So do you have any thoughts besides maybe putting together some go bags the next time we can all get together and maybe at the Aubrey Park Festival next year or something like that, as a starting point to moving forward with getting other interest in it?
It does take a while. I mean, it's like building a fire. You have to start with the embers. I mean, I had to work on our Grange for about a year
Hmm.
to get this going, Come on, guys, I think we should do this. Come on, guys, I think we should do this. Hey, what do you think about this? Oh, well, and they kept putting it off. Well, let's talk about that at our next meeting. Let's talk about that at the picnic. Let's talk about that at the barbecue. Let's talk, okay, and we'll move on. And so finally, we got to a point where I said, fine, I'm going to buy the bags. I'm going to do it. And if the Grange wants to step up and take it over, that's fine. But right now, with our Daffodil Festival coming up, by golly, Pfeiffer Winery is going to do this, or the Grange is. Which is it? And there was like some hemming and hawing. Well, why don't we give it some time to think about it? I said, no, we've thought about it. That's enough. And really, it does take laying the groundwork, letting people start thinking about it, and then actually doing something. Mm-hmm. And once we said we're going to do this, we're going to buy the bags, then the Grange kind of took a vote. And they said, all right, we'll do this. And then when we sold our first order, that was a done deal. We were in.
Yeah.
So you have to start slow, and you have to kind of prove that you got a point here. And so, yeah, there is a little bit of tugging that goes on.
Yeah, I think that one of the things, and I don't know how many people besides yourself, after you got things going, it sounds like you had to basically impose your will on them almost to get them to do that. Were there other people that came out and said, okay, I'll help, and started?
Yes, it was finding the donors. It was finding the sponsors. When I went in and I said, hey, half of these bags are already paid for because I've got these checks from Garrett. Look at, here's the checks. And it was like, they couldn't, I mean, it was the mountain of evidence that this was going to work was overwhelming against the evidence that it wasn't. And so it says, look, I'll take the financial hit if I'll buy them. I'll put in the other half of the money to get these bags. So the Grange came tumbling along. Yeah. But it does take somebody who's going to, you have to poke the bear a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and like you say, start with something, do something, and then, hopefully that generates the interest in doing more.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, committees are hard to get mobilized. And I think if you just take one great idea and punch it through, whatever it takes, punch it through and show them, look. And once they can see that there's evidence here that this is a doable thing, you're off and running.
Yeah, I think we've got classes in CERT classes. It's just a meeting of our CERT representative for Northwest Eugene, and he puts together a monthly get together of folks, and that's been really good. But it's the same folks over and over again, and we're not bringing in any new. So maybe by doing something else, and then we can piggyback onto that and get more people to come and attend.
Well, the other nice thing about having a program, any kind of focus, is that when we started then giving the CPR classes and the AED classes and the first aid classes, people started signing up. They started coming out to the Grange. They said, and the Grange was paying for it for them. So then we had this. Then we had people outside the Grange who wanted to take the classes, and so it really did roll along because. And that's how we got new faces to come to the Grange. It wasn't the same old people. It was folks saying, well, I've always wanted to take a CPR class, or I always wanted to know how to work a defibrillator.
And I think there's you start with the self-interested piece, right? There's a lot of people who like the idea of having a go bag, and I can hand them a list all day long of the things that they could have in their go bag, and they don't want to go accumulate it. And like you said, if you go out and buy them individually anyway, you're talking about $70 or $80. And really, I don't know where to get little packets of 8 ounces of water all, I mean, it's like the thing you created was a done deal. It's a thing that they can just hand you some money and take home that thing that now they have in the car, take home 3 of them. So they have them in each car and also in the house. And they get one for their kids' cars. And, so they've just with, handing you money, which by the way, they sort of know is good, giving money to the Grange. They know that's a great place to put their money. They've got so many benefits to people. The self-interested part, like, I know I want a go bag. Look, somebody made it for me and I can hand it money to the Grange. And, it's just easy.
Yeah.
That part feels like I can see why that took off.
I would think that the next thing should be a little bag of a little social distance bag or something, something where you get the hand sanitizers and the mask and the gloves and maybe a bar of soap and
and a collapsible 6-foot pole.
Yeah.
So you can go around in a circle around yourself. Just there's your 6-foot radius.
And a roll of toilet paper.
Roll of toilet paper and some Spam.
Bag and use that. I mean, that would be a great little seed program because everybody's now looking for mask sanitizers and all of that thing. But if you had that in a little bag, you don't have to talk anybody into it. They know exactly why they need it. Yeah. And that would be a great little thing to seed whatever program you'd want to do, and that would work. That would really work, actually.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That sounds really great, Danuta. I think we're coming out of a long, intense, I say we, I wasn't much part of it. I've come onto the board very recently, but a lot of the organization has spent several years working very hard putting together a neighborhood plan that's really not a neighborhood, it's much more comprehensive, and it has a lot to do with zoning and planning writ large, so that the city, we have some agency about how we develop out here. And a lot of people spend a lot of hours on that, but it's also not, it doesn't have the wow factor to it anymore, and people are kind of like, I think, burned out on that process and ready to wrap it up and move on to what's next for the organization.
Yeah.
And for it to have something that has pop and fun and excitement to it would be great, because we need more members showing up at meetings. We really do.
No, I think if you had something like that, that would at least get them out to get them interested in being part of the group, because they're getting something, and there's some. Yep. Again, it is your little wow factor. It's something tangible. People need something tangible, something they can hold in their hand, and they go, oh, look what I've got. It's not just an abstract planning thing, because that can get pretty dry. But you've got something tangible that they want, that they need, that they can give to their kids. Now you're clicking. Yeah, it always works that way. Yeah, whether it's wine or water bags. I mean, it's something tangible that people can keep in their hands. That's why I like this. Because it's tangible, it's something that they go home with, and everybody, I hope, in our neighborhood have this under their bed. You actually put this under your bed with your hard hat and your gloves and a pair of shoes. You put it in a box under your bed, because if the earthquake happens while you're in bed, you're going to need shoes, hard hat, gloves, and you're going to need to call people for help. Yeah. And a flashlight. But so everybody in our community, I'm hoping, They're telling me that they've done this. They've taken this, and we all have that under our bed with our little box.
Nice. Nice.
Very neat.
Again, it's something tangible, you know. And for Christmas, I think we're going to start handing out hard hats filled with
Nice.
like M&Ms or flowers, or, you know, with a bow. And so grandma can say to her kids, look, it's a hard hat filled with candy. And when you finish the candy, put this under your bed. You know, and it's those kinds of ideas of getting people to think about being safe.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it's I've been presenting that to the Grange lately, so I think we might be able to do that for Christmas.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Get some good ideas.
Yeah.
We maybe
Yeah,
tap you later.
It's really, it's really impressive, Danuta. I really appreciate you talking to us about it. I think it's very inspiring.
Well, thank you so much. It's not just me that's done it, but I must say that I am the driver behind these ideas. But then the Grange, you know, they all piled on. They all came in. They all supported this. So it was, you know, it ended up being a community engine, not just me out there waving and screaming.
Well, you've demonstrated to that community your ability to get things done, so they know if
I don't take no for an answer very often. No only means find a way around to yes, or over to yes, or under to yes. It just means find another way. It doesn't really mean no.
And the people out there already know that she can get things done. I mean, anyone who can get all these guys to take their clothes off.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had guys auditioning, you know, after a while.
Turns out they're all exhibitionists. They just are pretending not to be.
Yeah.
Danuta, do you think that I'm wondering about scalable, right? Because our neighborhood association is 21,000 residents.
Wow.
And so we always struggle with how to reach people, how to be connected. And, you know, I understand organically map your neighborhood, how that grows based on pockets of interest and, you know, sort of gently spreads out. But, you know, and I love the go bag idea, but I mean, whoo, I don't know how. I understand we have to start small, create small successes and let them grow. But I'm trying to figure out in my mind, like, how do you start that? You know, we need the safety pandemic, not the coronavirus pandemic. So how do we seed that?
Well,
beautiful.
you know, we are fortunate that in Junction City and in our area here, we have that little daffodil festival.
Yeah.
And that's been the little train that could, because we have all these volunteers. We have people who know that we get together every year. We put this thing together. Well, there's only about 13 of us that put the festival together. And then the volunteers come in for a shift or two during the weekend. But we had this little nest egg. We had this little festival, and I think that out of the festival, all these other things grew, or out of the Grange and its festival. And so, if you started some sort of community, you know, drive-in theaters are coming back. You know, there aren't very many drive-in theaters left in the world. Wouldn't it be great to get a drive-in theater in this area? You would have cars lined up down the road, and you could offer, I mean, there would be the popcorn. They can get their picnic baskets if they pre-sell them. And you could have your grab-and-go bag and your picnic bag and watch a movie and have, you know, maybe in the park, I don't know. But there's, you could have a drive-in concert. You know, people could still be in their cars, but, you know, the band is going. I think there are ways we can still celebrate, and you can still create unity.
Yeah.
But I think if you do it in a really creative way, this is a great opportunity to get everybody's attention because they need something to do.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
opportunity knocking. So if you came up with something for your 26,000 residents and say, guess what we're gonna do? And they'll come like flies to honey.
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, this is great. What else have you got cooking? Really, it's true. It's true. I mean, if you had a place where you could do a little drive-in theater, whoa, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And it's not that hard to do. I mean, you can get those big screens.
Yeah.
They're not all that expensive anymore. You can get a big screen and all you need is, an iPad. I mean, you've got your movie. That's easy. Or just paint a brick wall white and all you need is the space and you need some way to get them. I mean, maybe there is an app for that where they could
there probably is.
where they could just sit in their car with their earbuds watching the movie in the car. I mean, come on, this is very doable and it would be so fun. You would have people, you'd have the media out there going, can you believe that we're doing a drive-in theater again? And
Santa Clara Square parking lot.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God, that's great. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Sherry's would get the restaurants around there to
That is
to
a
help.
great idea.
Yeah.
So do that next month.
There you go.
Like it.
Put one on. See what happens. Start small.
Yeah. All right.
100 cars.
Any
Just
other
100
questions?
cars.
Yeah.
And maybe your entrance fee could be, there's a fee for this, and the fee would be buy an emergency kit. So you would have your emergency kit, and the emergency kit, say it's a $15 kit that you put together. Their entrance to the drive-in movie theater is to buy an emergency kit.
Yep.
2 birds with 1 stone there.
Yep. I like it.
We need you in our emergency kit.
Yeah.
I think you are our emergency kit. Can we bottle you?
And teach your baby to swim too.
Very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. I love it.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm glad I could help, and you're a bunch of dedicated people, and I think you've got all sorts of places and things you can do in Santa Clara that we don't have. I mean, you've got room,
right?
And you've got people, and you've got all you need is light a fire under an idea.
Yep.
It'll go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
You're very welcome. Am I leaving?
You can stay. I mean,
am I done? Oh.
I think unless there's other questions for you, we could probably let you get back to your night.
Okay. I got a glass of wine waiting.
All right.
Yeah.
You do. Really good wine, as I recall.
Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you too.
Thank you for the invitation. It was
Thank you so much,
good to
Danuta.
talk with you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Okay.
Okay.